It was the email subject line that broke me. Not the years of ATM withdrawals. Not the forgotten birthdays. Not even the lies. Just 7 words in my inbox. Final notice. Payment required by Friday. I stared at my daughter Emily's name in the sender field. My hands shook as I opened it. Mom, as we discussed, the final $40,000 payment for our Napa Valley wedding venue is due this Friday. Brandon and I have already covered the other vendors, but we're counting on you for this. Wire transfer details below. Thanks, M. We never discussed anything. And this was the first I'd heard of Napa Valley. Let me back up. My daughter Emily is 32 years old. She works as a marketing manager at a tech company in Seattle, making what I'd consider a comfortable salary. Her fiancé Brandon is a financial analyst. On paper, they're doing well, better than I was at their age, certainly. But somewhere along the way, I became their safety net. No, that's too kind. I became their personal bank account. It started small, like these things always do. 4 years ago, Emily called me on a Tuesday afternoon. Her voice was tight with stress. Mom, I'm so embarrassed to ask this, but our apartment complex just hit us with a surprise assessment for building repairs. It's $3,200 and it's due in 2 weeks. We're still recovering from Brandon's car accident medical bills, and we just don't have it right now. I didn't hesitate. She was my daughter. She needed help. I transferred the money that same day. Thank you so much, Mom. We'll pay you back as soon as Brandon's next bonus comes through. The bonus never materialized. Or rather, it did. But there was always something else. A friend's destination bachelor party Brandon couldn't miss. A promotion celebration dinner that ran up a $600 tab. New furniture for the apartment because we can't have Brandon's boss over with our old stuff. 6 months later, another call. Mom, our dishwasher flooded the apartment below us. The damage is $5,500 and insurance is dragging their feet. Our landlord is threatening legal action. Can you help us out? Just temporarily. I helped. What else could I do? Then came the engagement. Emily FaceTimed me with her ring extended toward the camera. A 2-carat diamond catching the light. Brandon proposed. Look at this ring, Mom. Isn't it gorgeous? I'm so happy. I was happy for her. Truly. But I also noticed she didn't mention how they'd afforded a ring that I later learned cost $12,000. I didn't ask. I was just glad to see her smiling. The wedding planning started immediately. Emily sent me Pinterest boards and Instagram screenshots. Everything was champagne tastes on what should have been a beer budget. I know it seems extravagant, she told me over coffee one Saturday. But this is my one wedding, Mom. I've dreamed about this since I was little, and honestly, with Brandon's family and his work connections, we need to make a certain impression. That phrase stuck with me. Make a certain impression. The first wedding expense request came 2 months after the engagement. Mom, we found the perfect wedding planner. She's expensive, but she's done weddings for tech executives and even a minor celebrity. It's $8,000 for her services. Brandon's parents are covering the rehearsal dinner. But we were hoping you could handle the planner? I hesitated. That seemed like a lot for someone to just coordinate things. But Emily's face fell when I paused. Never mind, I should have known. We'll just do it ourselves, and it'll probably be a disaster, but whatever. No, I said quickly. I can help with that. I transferred the money. Emily squealed and hugged me. Thank you. You're the best mom ever. This is going to be perfect. 2 months later. The videographer we want is $6,000. Can you cover that? 1 month after that? The florist needs a deposit of $4,500. Then, my dress is $3,800. But it's a designer, and it's perfect. Each time I told myself this was it. This was the last thing. She was getting married, after all. This was a special time. I could tighten my belt. I'd been saving for retirement. But what good was money if I couldn't help my daughter on her wedding day? But I also noticed something. Emily stopped calling just to chat. Our conversations became transactional. She'd ask about my day in this perfunctory way, clearly waiting to get to the real reason for her call. And Brandon, I barely knew him. He was polite enough in person, but distant. He never thanked me for the money, never acknowledged it at all, actually. It was as if the money materialized from nowhere, just part of what was owed to them. Then came Thanksgiving last year. Emily and Brandon were hosting at their apartment for the first time. They'd invited Brandon's parents, his sister and her husband, and me. I brought my famous pecan pie and a nice bottle of wine. When I arrived, Brandon's mother, Carol, was already holding court in the living room, talking about their recent cruise to Alaska. The ship was lovely, but honestly, we prefer river cruises in Europe. More intimate, you know? We're thinking of doing the Danube in spring. Emily laughed at something Carol said. She looked relaxed, happy. She barely glanced up when I came in. Oh, hi, Mom. You can put that in the kitchen. Brandon's sister made pie too. So, we'll probably have plenty. I stood there holding my pie, feeling suddenly foolish. Dinner was worse. I sat at one end of the table while Carol held forth at the other. The conversation revolved around Brandon's promotion, their apartment renovation plans, and wine regions I'd never heard of. Emily, darling, have you and Brandon thought about where you'll honeymoon? Carol asked. We know a wonderful travel agent who specializes in luxury destinations. We're thinking Bora Bora, Emily said. 2 weeks. Overwater bungalow. The works. Brandon's father whistled. That's not cheap. We deserve it, Brandon said, reaching over to squeeze Emily's hand. We work hard. We should enjoy the fruits of our labor. I almost laughed. The fruits of whose labor? Exactly. After dinner, I was clearing plates when I overheard Carol talking to Emily in the kitchen. I just think you could do better with the flowers, sweetie. The bouquets in those photos looked a bit pedestrian. You want something that really makes a statement. People will be taking photos. I know, Emily said, but the florist is already so expensive. Well, you get what you pay for. Maybe you could upgrade? This is your wedding. Emily glanced toward me, then quickly away. I pretended not to notice. I left right after pie, claiming a headache. Emily barely protested. The money requests continued through winter. By spring, I'd given them nearly $45,000 for various wedding expenses. I'd stopped adding it up because the number made me feel sick. My sister Margaret called me one evening in March. Linda, I'm worried about you. You look exhausted every time I see you. What's going on? I broke down and told her everything. The money, the distance, the feeling that I'd become nothing more than a checkbook to my own daughter. Margaret was quiet for a long moment. Then, Linda, honey, you need to stop. This isn't helping Emily. You're teaching her that there are no consequences, no limits. And worse, you're letting her treat you like a stranger. But she's my daughter. Exactly, your daughter. Not your master. When's the last time she asked about your life? Your health? Your dreams? I couldn't remember. You need to set a boundary, Margaret said firmly. Before this wedding bankrupts you emotionally and financially. I knew she was right. But I didn't know how to stop the train that was already in motion. Then came the email in April, the one about Napa Valley. I called Emily immediately. Honey, I got your email, but I'm confused. I thought the wedding was at that barn venue in Woodinville. Oh, we changed our minds. The Napa venue is so much better. Much more sophisticated. Brandon's family has friends who got married there, and it's just stunning. But $40,000? Emily. It's the final payment, Mom. We've already paid them $25,000. But they need the balance by Friday to hold our date. It's September. Perfect weather. I already sent out save the dates. Emily, I can't just... Mom. Her voice went cold. Brandon and I have worked so hard to plan this wedding. We've compromised on so many things already. This venue is important to us, to our future. Brandon's boss will be there. His biggest clients. This is basically a networking event. A networking event? I repeated. I thought it was a wedding. You know what I mean. Please, Mom. I really need you to come through for me here. Something in her tone, the casual expectation, the veiled guilt trip, made my stomach turn. Let me think about it, I said. Think fast. It's due Friday. I need to know by Thursday, so I can confirm with the venue. She hung up without saying goodbye. I sat there staring at my phone. At the email, with its wire transfer details and deadline. At the calendar showing Friday was 3 days away. I opened my banking app. My retirement savings had taken a serious hit from all the loans I'd given Emily. At this rate, I'd be working until I was 75. That's when the second email arrived. This one wasn't from Emily. It was from someone named Stephanie Chen, and the subject line read, "Save the date. Emily and Brandon's Napa Valley wedding." I opened it. The design was beautiful. I'd give them that. Elegant script. Photos of rolling vineyards. And there, in the details section, join us for an intimate celebration at Meadowood Napa Valley. Black tie required. Adults only, please. Limited accommodations available nearby, starting at $400 night. My eyes caught on something else. A note at the bottom. Please note, due to the intimate nature of our venue, we are limited to 75 guests. If you did not receive a formal invitation, please understand that space constraints require difficult decisions. We appreciate your understanding and support. I read it 3 times. Then I scrolled to the guest list preview they'd included. A grid of names and faces. Brandon's family, his co-workers, Emily's work friends, college roommates I barely remembered. I scrolled through all 75 names. My name wasn't there. I looked again, certain I'd missed it. But no. Linda Morrison was not invited to her own daughter's wedding. My hands were shaking so badly I nearly dropped the phone. I called Emily. "Hi, Mom. Did you get... Am I invited to your wedding?" Silence. Emily? Mom, it's complicated. The venue has really strict capacity limits. And with Brandon's family and his professional connections, we had to make some hard choices. Hard choices? My voice came out strangled. I'm your mother, I know. And I feel terrible about it. But honestly, Mom, you'd probably feel out of place anyway. It's going to be very formal, very upscale. Brandon's family is flying in from the East Coast. His boss is bringing his wife, who's on the board of a major nonprofit. It's a different crowd. A different crowd than your own mother. Don't make this harder than it is. You're always saying you don't like fancy events anyway. Remember Cousin Sarah's wedding? You complained about the dress code for weeks. I had complained about Sarah's wedding because it was pretentious and overpriced. But it was my niece's wedding, and I went, and I smiled, and I danced, and I was happy for her. So let me get this straight, I said slowly. I'm not invited to your wedding, but I'm supposed to wire you $40,000 by Friday? Those are 2 separate things, Mom. Are they? The venue needs to be paid regardless. Brandon and I have worked so hard on this. We've already put down $25,000. If we don't pay the balance, we lose everything. It'll ruin our wedding, but I won't be at your wedding. Mom, please don't be difficult about this. I'm under so much stress right now. The last thing I need is guilt from you. Something in me snapped. Not loudly, not dramatically. Just a quiet, final breaking of whatever thread had been holding me in this pattern. I need to go, I said. Wait, but the money. I hung up. I sat in my living room as the sun set, the email still open on my phone. 75 guests. 75 people more important than me, more worthy of witnessing my daughter's wedding. Margaret called an hour later. Linda? You okay? You sound strange. I told her everything. The venue, The price. The guest list. Margaret was silent for so long I thought she'd hung up. Then, that little bitch. Margaret. No, I'm sorry, but no. She's not invited you to her wedding but expects you to pay for it? Are you kidding me right now? She says the venue has limits. Oh, I'm sure it does. I'm sure Brandon's boss and his clients are very important. More important than the woman who gave birth to her. More important than the woman who's funded this entire charade. I don't know what to do. I know exactly what you need to do. But you're not going to like it. What? Nothing. You do nothing. You don't send the money. You let her figure it out. But she'll lose the venue. Good. Let her lose it. Let her and Brandon and his fancy family figure out how to pay for their own damn wedding. Linda, listen to me. She has excluded you from the most important day of her life, while simultaneously demanding your money. Do you understand how twisted that is? I did. God help me, I did. But she's my daughter, and you're her mother. Which apparently means you're good enough to bankroll her dreams, but not good enough to watch her live them. I started crying. Deep, shaking sobs that I'd been holding back for months, maybe years. Margaret stayed on the line, not saying anything, just breathing with me. When I finally stopped, she said quietly, "What do you want to do?" I thought about all the money, all the calls that only came when they needed something. The Thanksgiving dinner where I'd felt invisible. The casual cruelty of being erased from the guest list of my own child's wedding. I want to stop, I whispered. I'm so tired, Margaret. Then stop. Thursday morning, I woke up to 6 text messages from Emily. Mom, I need confirmation about the wire transfer. Mom, seriously, the venue needs this today. Are you ignoring me? This is really immature. I thought I could count on you. Brandon is freaking out. His parents are asking questions. Call me. I made myself a cup of tea. I sat at my kitchen table with my laptop, and I composed an email. Dear Emily, I've given this a great deal of thought. I will not be sending money for your wedding venue. Over the past 4 years, I've given you approximately $47,000 for various expenses, including $30,000 toward wedding costs. None of this has been repaid, despite repeated promises. More importantly, I've just learned that I am not invited to your wedding. While you cite space constraints, I notice you found room for 75 other people, including Brandon's professional contacts. I understand that you're building a life with Brandon and that his career matters to you both. But I will not continue to fund a life that I'm not welcome to be part of. The money I would have sent for your venue, that $40,000, I am instead donating to the women's shelter downtown in your and Brandon's names. They do important work helping women who have nowhere else to turn. I thought it was fitting. Consider it my wedding gift to you both. I wish you happiness in your marriage. I truly do. But our relationship, as it currently exists, is not sustainable for me. When and if you'd like to have a relationship based on mutual respect rather than financial transactions, I'm here. Love. Mom. I attached a receipt from the shelter showing a donation of $40,000 in honor of Emily Morrison and Brandon Fletcher's wedding. Then I clicked send. The response was immediate. My phone started ringing. Text messages flooded in. But I turned my phone off and went to have lunch with Margaret. You really did it? She asked, eyes wide. I really did it. How do you feel? I thought about it. Terrified. Sad. But also... Margaret raised her glass of iced tea. To boundaries. Better late than never. The fallout was spectacular. Brandon's mother called me from a number I didn't recognize. I made the mistake of answering. How could you do this to them? Carol's voice was shrill. Do you have any idea what you've done? They've lost their venue. The wedding is in 4 months. Carol, with all due respect, this is between me and my daughter. You've humiliated them. Brandon's family is asking questions. His boss was expecting an invitation to this wedding. This makes them look irresponsible. Perhaps they should have been responsible with their own money then. What kind of mother? I hung up. Emily left me a voicemail. I listened to it once. I can't believe you. I can't believe you would sabotage my wedding like this. Everyone is asking what happened. Brandon's parents think we're financial disasters. His sister told his boss, we're having budget issues. Do you know how that makes us look? And donating it to a shelter? In our names? Like we're charity cases? That's so humiliating, Mom. I will never forgive you for this. Never. I saved the voicemail. I'm not sure why. Brandon sent an email. It was the first time he'd ever contacted me directly. Linda, I think you should know that your actions have had serious professional consequences for me. My boss has withdrawn his RSVP and made comments about my financial stability. This could affect my career trajectory. I don't know what kind of relationship you have with Emily, but destroying our wedding to make some kind of point is cruel and unnecessary. We will proceed with a smaller wedding at a venue we can actually afford, but the damage to our reputation and my career may be irreversible. I hope you're satisfied. Brandon. I read it 3 times, looking for an apology, for an acknowledgement that maybe, just maybe, asking someone to pay $40,000 for a wedding they weren't invited to was also cruel and unnecessary. It wasn't there. 3 weeks passed in silence. I went to work. I had dinner with Margaret. I started taking a pottery class on Thursday evenings, something I'd always wanted to do but never had time for. I didn't cry as much as I expected. Mostly, I felt numb, but underneath the numbness was something else. Something that felt almost like relief. Then, late on a Sunday night, my phone rang. Emily. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Mom? Her voice was small, young. The voice of the little girl who used to crawl into my bed during thunderstorms. I'm here. We got married yesterday. At the courthouse. Just us, and 2 witnesses Brandon knew from work. Oh, it was fine. It was fine. We sat in silence. Brandon's mad at me, she finally said. He says I should have managed you better. That's what he said. Managed you. Like you're some kind of problem to be solved. More silence. His mom keeps making these comments about how her friend's daughter had such a beautiful wedding at some vineyard, and how our situation was so unfortunate. She means you. She means the money. Emily, no, let me finish, please. I waited. I've been thinking about Thanksgiving. About how I barely talked to you. About how I only called when I needed something. About how Her voice cracked. About how I didn't invite you to my own wedding. She was crying now. What kind of person does that, Mom? What kind of person treats their own mother like an ATM and then doesn't even invite her to the wedding she's paying for? Emily, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't know when I became this person. I don't know when Brandon's career and his family's approval became more important than you. But somewhere along the way, I lost myself. And I lost you. I was crying too now. Brandon says you humiliated us. But Mom, I humiliated myself. I humiliated us. What I did was unforgivable. It hurt, I said quietly. It hurt so much, Emily. I know it did. And I don't blame you for the donation. Actually, that was kind of brilliant. Mean, but brilliant. I laughed despite myself. It felt fitting. Brandon was furious. But honestly, I think that's when I started to see things clearly. He wasn't mad about losing you. He was mad about losing the money. And that scared me. We talked for 2 hours that night. Really talked for the first time in years. She told me about the pressure from Brandon's family to maintain a certain image. About how she'd felt like she was never enough. Never successful enough. Never polished enough. About how having me pay for things made her feel like she was keeping up. I told her how invisible I'd felt. How transactional our relationship had become. How much it hurt to be excluded from her wedding. I don't know if we can fix this, I said finally. I don't know if I can go back to being your emergency fund. I don't want you to, Emily said. Mom, I need to figure out my own life. Brandon and I need to live within our means. And I need to be your daughter again, not your client. What about Brandon? She was quiet for a moment. I don't know. He's been saying some things lately that worry me, about how marriage is a partnership where both families contribute, how your donation was a betrayal of family values. But Mom, you are family. You're my family. And I betrayed you. I didn't know what to say to that. Can we try? She asked. Can we try to rebuild this? Without money involved? Just as mother and daughter? I'd like that, I said. But Emily? It has to be different. I can't be your safety net anymore. I know. I don't want you to be. We made a plan. Coffee once a week. No money talk. No requests for loans. Just time together. It's been 3 months since that phone call. We've had coffee 7 times. Emily tells me about her job, her friends, her worries about her marriage. I tell her about my pottery class, my book club, my life. Last week, she brought me something. A small box. I saved up for this. It took me 3 months, but I wanted to get you something. Not because I owe you, but because I love you. Inside was a handmade pottery bowl from a local artist. Simple, beautiful, imperfect. I remembered you said you were taking pottery classes. I thought you'd appreciate this. I cried. Not from sadness, but from something else. Something that felt like hope. She's still married to Brandon. I don't know how that will go. He's polite to me now, distant but polite. I think he sees me as the villain in their story. The mother who ruined their perfect wedding. But Emily sees things differently now. She started therapy. She's setting boundaries with Brandon's family. She's learning to live within a budget. And me? I'm learning that love doesn't mean saying yes to everything. That being a good mother sometimes means letting your children face consequences. That my worth isn't measured in dollar signs. The $40,000 I donated to the shelter? They sent me a thank you letter last month. They're using it to help 3 families transition from homelessness to stable housing. Emily's name and Brandon's are on a plaque in their lobby. Emily went to see it last week. She sent me a photo. This is what our money should have been for all along, her text said. Thank you for showing me that. I don't know if our relationship will ever be what it was before all this. Maybe that's okay. Maybe it needs to be something new. Something more honest. But when she calls now, I answer without wondering what she wants. And when we have coffee, we talk about real things, not just her problems. It's not the wedding I imagined for her. It's not the relationship I hoped we'd have, but it's real. And sometimes, real is better than perfect. Even if it cost me $47,000 in one very expensive wedding venue to learn that lesson,